Welcome back, everybody. Very special video for you guys today. As you can see, I'm sitting next to a big old stack of collected edition comic books. I thought today might be a fun day to go over what, in my opinion, might be the best 25 comic books that I bought throughout the year. The best 25 of 2025. You guys get it. Similar to the top 25 comic books I talked about, my favorite reads, this one is specifically stuff that I added to my collection. So we'll get into why it's a special ad, maybe a little bit of the story of how it added it into my collection. Not necessarily stuff that I've read. I mean, these are things that I'm looking forward to reading in 2026 for sure. Let's start off with number 25. Of course, we got the Firepower Deluxe Edition, book number 2, written by Robert Kirkman with art from Chris Samney. I loved Chris Samney's collaboration with Mark Waid this past year, reading Batman and Robin Year 1. So I wanted to read some more Chris Samney stuff specifically, and I think I'm going to read Firepower real soon. So this was a great add to the collection, completing the 1-2 set of Firepower. Excited to get into that sometime in 2026. This one we're counting for number 24. These are stuff that I've collected either in trades or single issues. So we're counting them all in one because they're just upgrades to some great Image Comic Deluxe editions. My favorite comic book format of all time, we have Extremity, a Daniel Warren Johnson series. Excellent artwork. If you haven't read Extremity, you got to read it. Some really emotional moments, some great action in that. And then a great concept from Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Always a fan of their collabs. You guys know I read Descender last year and loved it. So I read Little Monsters when it was coming out. I thought it was super sick. It has this black and white with a touch of red kind of art style from Dustin Nguyen. I got to reread Little Monsters soon, so I'm excited to have it in this deluxe edition format. That's number 24. For number 23, we're going Grommets, this Rick Remender series with artwork from Brian Poshen and the rest of the team here. This collects numbers 1 through 7 of Grommets. I've got to read this, man. I've heard really good things. I think the skateboarding sort of 80s era that it takes place in is such a vibe, so I got to read Grommets sometime soon. Excited to have this trade paperback in the collection. Just something that, I was just super excited to find at the comic book store and add to the collection. Number 22, we are going Deceased Deluxe Edition. This was a great ad because I got it for a Black Friday sale. Always great having a nice DC Deluxe Edition, but, really good to have it for a really good deal as well. So if you haven't read Deceased before, it's sort of like DC's take on, DC zombies, kind of like the Marvel zombie sort of thing. But I really loved Deceased when it was coming out. Really want to reread it sometime soon, so now I have this deluxe edition. That should be pretty cool. Series written by Tom Taylor. But yeah, so great add to the collection for half off. Gotta love it. Next up for number 21, we're going to consider all of these sort of older DC collected editions all in one. So I love collecting like first edition, first printing. We have this nice hardcover of Arkham Asylum, the series written by Grant Morrison with art from Dave McKean. So really excited to have this in the collection, a first printing sort of hardcover type thing. And we got this Bizarro comic, same kind of thing, nice little hardcover. Always thought about getting the deluxe edition, but now that I have this kind of older hardcover, there's no need, I think. I like collecting it in this. We have like the first printing of Year 1, and then the first printing of the library edition, like the direct to market, The Dark Knight Returns. So I love collecting some of these old sort of DC collected editions. I think they're pretty fun. Number 20, we're going the She-Hulk by Rainbow Rowell Omnibus. This was in a Whatnot haul, so really cool to work with Whatnot and get some free Omnis. This was provided by Whatnot, and I just really loved Rainbow Rowell's run all the way throughout, and now we have it. Actually, I didn't read the second half when she returned with the second numbering of the Sensational She-Hulk, I believe. So I haven't read that second half of her run, but excited to have it in the omnibus format. Number 19, we're going Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, Who Killed Jimmy Olsen. Now, this one was released in a deluxe edition. I got to get that at some point. So you might see this deluxe edition in the end of year 2026 list if I ever get around to upgrading it. But such a great read. I loved learning more about Jimmy Olsen as a character from Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber, and I thought this was a really wacky read. It ended up being one of my favorites of the year. Definitely check out that full list for the full listing, that video. But yeah, got to upgrade this to the deluxe edition at some point, but excited to have it just in the collection to begin with. Number 18, we're going 20th Century Men. This is a series written by Dennis Camp with artwork from Stepan Morian. Just one of the most beautiful sort of war stories I've ever read. One of the most unique stories I've ever read too, from Dennis Camp and Stepan Morian. Just really incredible stuff, man. So this is a great add to the collection. If this ever comes out in a deluxe edition, you guys know I'll be upgrading for sure. But excited to have it in this trade paperback. I was looking for this for the longest time, so seeing this at the local comic book store was a nice surprise for sure. Number 17 is one of my favorite reads of the year. Excited to have it in this hardcover. We have Out of Alcatraz. This is an Oni Press series. This one is extra special though, because this was sent to me from friend of the show Omar over at Near Mint Condition. But you get this really excellent artwork from Tyler Crook. These people breaking out of the Alcatraz and kind of going on this little adventure, trying to run away from the police and that sort of thing. But yeah, excited to have this in the hardcover, and even better that it came from such a good friend like Omar. Next up, I want to include at number 16, some of the DC compacts that I got for Christmas. So this is from my family, my brother and sister, they hooked me up. I think I'm going to go for a full set of DC compacts and cover them pretty heavily here on the channel, so look forward to that. But we have the Superman, Batman, DC compact. We have the Batman Arkham Asylum, which of course I already have, but excited to have it in the compact as well. Something important for the channel. Batman, the Court of Owls, the classic Snyder and Capullo, and then DC, the New Frontier, some Darwin Cook goodness there. So 4 great DC compacts to start off with, and that gets my number 16 spot. Number 15, we are going something on the shelf that I don't want to get. It's all the way up there. It is the Batman, The Man Who Laughs Deluxe Edition, written by Ed Brubaker. So something I have to read in 2026 for sure. It's on my TBR, and really excited to have another Brubaker, another deluxe edition, another Batman. Checks a lot of boxes for an add to my collection for sure. Next up at number 14, another one we're grouping all together. These were all provided to me by Distillery, hooking me up with the hardcovers. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. We got stuff like Somna, stuff like Time Waits, a really good one from Chip Zdarsky. We have Spectrograph, a James Tynion IV. We have one of the first of the Distillery waves. We have Jocks. This is called Gone, really good one there. And then Mirka Andolfo's Blasphemous. So yeah, really excited to have all of these nice square bound prestige format hardcovers from Distillery. I think these things are beautiful and they look really good on the shelf all together. Next up at number 13, we are grouping together a bunch of Ed Brubaker trades. So I love collecting some early Ed Brubaker stuff. I'm not going for like full sets of all these in particular, but it is fun to have a trade paperback number 1 of Fatale, a series I love. I have it in the compendium back there, and I loved reading it, so I got this trade number 1. We also have stuff like Gotham Central number 1. Really, probably my favorite Ed Brubaker series of all time, Gotham Central. One of my favorite DC series of all time too, so excited to have it in this trade paperback number 1 format. That's just like a fun one there. Found this at the local comic book store. We have Dead Enders, a Ed Brubaker trade there from DC Vertigo. We know Vertigo's coming back. We also have A Scene of the Crime, a DC Vertigo from Ed Brubaker, and this is his collaboration with Michael Lark, early collab with Sean Phillips as well. Excited to have this. I have it in the hardcover back there, but excited to have it in this trade as well. And then to cap it all off, something I'm looking forward to reading very soon, we have A Complete Lowlife, an Ed Brubaker sort of auto-bio kind of thing. So excited to get into this and just learn more about Ed Brubaker, and he's illustrating this as well as writing it. So some of his earliest work, I have it now in this trade format. So excited to have that. Next up at number 12, we're going Fish Flies, a hardcover written by Jeff Lemire. I was collecting Fish Flies as it was coming out, but really, just something to have on the shelf. You got that classic Jeff Lemire sort of style. Really love Fish Flies. This uplifting, sort of weird story though, as this guy gets turned into a fly and this kid just goes on an adventure with this sort of fly monster. So yeah, gotta read Fish Flies, but excited to have it in the hardcover. Too bad it's not a deluxe. It's a tiny bit shorter than the rest of the Image Comics deluxe editions. Still excited to have it in the collection though. Next up, we have 11's pick. We're going Ghost Fleet. On my quest to collect all of the Daniel Warren Johnson stuff, he did the art for this in collaboration with Donnie Cates doing the writing. So excited to get into this at some point. Ghost Fleet, Daniel Warren Johnson, add it to the shelf, and I've heard really good things about it too. It's like a hidden gem from Daniel Warren Johnson, so excited to get into that. We also have at number 10, one of my all-time favorite reads. We have the One Hand Six Fingers trade paperback. For those that don't know, this is a really fun series. It's got the detective going after the serial killer, sort of like a cat and mouse game that they got going on. And it flips back and forth from both their perspectives. And I think the entire creative team, from Dan Waters to Ram V, everybody just killed it on this one. One of my favorites the year it came out, so excited to have it in the trade paperback format. That's number 10. At number 9, we're going Velvet hardcover. I got this at C2E2 earlier in the year, and it's a Ed Brubaker story. Got to add it to the collection first off, but then it's that spy kind of flavor that I really loved from the Ed Brubaker Captain America stuff. So got to get into this some point in 2026, and some point early too, because I'm really intrigued by this this character in Velvet. So gonna be reading this soon, and that has got to be one of the pickups of the year. Top 10 for sure, placing it at my number 9. Batman the Cult, the deluxe edition, is my number 8 pick of the year. Love a DC deluxe edition, as I've already stated, and this one is just beautiful. Ended up being one of my favorite reads of the year, and one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. I never really hear people talking about the Cult like that, but I just ended up loving it, man. Some of the trippiest artwork I've ever seen in a Batman story, and just an all-time classic for me. So this has got to be one of my favorite pickups of the year for sure, placing it at my number 8. At my number 7, we are going Spectators. As you guys can see right on the cover, advanced reader copy. So this was a higher up on my list because it was sent to me from Image Comics. It just feels extra special that it's an advanced reader copy. The back is a little bit different than the hardcover that they have released. This was a series that was originally released online, I believe, but Image Comics so graciously sent me the trade paperback edition, the advanced reader copy, to check out. So at some point we'll be reading this 2026 as I read some more Brian K. Vaughan stuff. But yeah, some little cool, one-of-a-kind sort of editions of Spectators from Brian K. Vaughan and Image Comics. At number 6, we're going with The Knives. Have not read it yet, not even opened it. As you guys can see, it's still wrapped up. But part of the Criminal Universe, Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, had to get it when it came out. And I'm just so glad that they're continuing the Criminal Universe. Some of my favorite stuff in comics. You guys know I like that crime and noir stuff, and this is some of the best to ever do it, man. So gotta have the hardcover, The Knives. And when they release more in 2026, you guys know we'll be all over it, covering it here on the channel. At number 5, we're going this double pick of Junkyard Joe and the Geiger Deluxe Edition number 1. So I gotta continue with the entire Ghost Machine stuff. Loving all their deluxe editions, so really excited to have these. Some of my favorite stories of all time. Junkyard Joe is so sick, but Geiger's been my boy ever since he debuted, so excited to have these in this beautiful Image Comic deluxe editions. These might be a little bit more up my alley than the regular Image deluxe editions. Like, I love those, but the oversized nature of these just bring a whole new life to the story. So I'm loving these, and that's why it gets my number 5 spot. Number 4, we're going sort of this little bundle here. We got some of the DC Marvel collaborations that they released early in the year, but then also this trade I found from my local comic book store a couple weeks ago, actually. So this is a really nice find. I got this for, I don't know, what was it, like 20 bucks or something like that. So that's a real fun find. I think it's the original, when the series first debuted in trade paperback, DC versus Marvel. But then, of course, we have the DC versus Marvel Omnibus they released early in the year, and we have the Amalgam Age Omnibus as well. So both of these really great, fun additions to the collection, and even better finding that old trade from way back in the day. So that was a nice find as well, and that's why it gets my number 4 spot. Up into the number 3s, man, this is tough, but I gotta give it to Superman Up in the Sky, the deluxe edition. One of my favorite stories of all time. It's my favorite Superman story of all time. You guys know I talk about it on the channel a lot. Excited to have it in this deluxe edition. I had the trade, but I gave it to my brother, I believe. And yeah, I had to upgrade to the deluxe edition. A beautiful deluxe edition for the collection. Favorite Superman story of all time. You had to upgrade to the deluxe, man. You just had to do it. Top two. Number 2, we're going Incognito, this hardcover. This one is kind of hard to find. They don't have Incognito trades you can just pick up. This is from the Marvel Icon imprint. So it's kind of older and way harder to find. So I loved finding this hardcover collected edition. I was comic book shopping with my brother, and it's just a really awesome story of how I found it, and a really awesome story in general. It's one of my favorite Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips collabs just in general. And yeah, dude, so Incognito, that's got to be my number 2 spot. Number 1, unfortunately, another one where I'm a little bit too lazy, but it's on the shelf back there. It is the Daredevil by Brian Michael Bendis Omnibus Volumes number 1 and 2. One of my favorite reads of last year. Just having that double, full run of Bendis Daredevil is just so awesome. One of my favorite Marvel runs of all time, and I just love having the 1-2 complete set. I don't have to worry about the Brian Michael Bendis Daredevils anymore. They're in the collection, man. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Those are just some of the collected editions that I added into my collection this year, and why they're so, important, or why I enjoyed adding them to the collection so much, and kind of the role that they play. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll be sure to keep track of all of this stuff into 2026 so we can do another video kind of like this, man. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know, what's the best collected edition that you picked up all year? Let me know down in the comments. Appreciate it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and read more comics.